Hello, Year 9. Welcome back to another lesson. We're going to keep looking at standard deviation today, but we're going to be looking at inputting data when it's slightly different. Okay, so we're looking at frequency tables and class centers and calculating the standard deviation from those. Now, for these ones, we definitely need a calculator. It's going to be an absolute pain to do manually. So I'm going to take you through how do you input data when the data you're given is in the form of a frequency table. So let's take you through setting it up into statistics mode. Again, we want to click this mode button here, okay, and then we want to press stat. Okay, and now we only have one variable that we're looking at, so it's just the score. So we click 1 for one var, one variable. Okay, now here you can see what we had last lesson. We've got our X column, and then we've got space to input all our scores. Now, we could just submit 20 and then input that 5 times, and then put 21 in 7 times, and then put 22 in 13 times, but you can see that's obviously going to be an absolute pain. So there, thankfully, is an easier way. What we need to do is we need to press Shift and then Setup. Once you've got this up, we're going to press the down button, okay, and we're going to click 3 for stat, and it will come up with this selection here, frequency, and then 1 for on, 2 for off. We can press 1 for on, and voila, we have a frequency table where we have the score column and we have the frequency column, which is going to be very useful. So we can put in our scores and the frequencies as such. So we can press 20 and then equals. And then what I can do is I can press the arrows to go over here, and I can change the value of 1 to 5 and then press equals to submit that. Okay, so I use my arrows to kind of navigate the table here. I can press 21 equals, and then I can change the frequency of 21 to 7. Okay. 22 equals, and the frequency of 22 is 13. You can imagine how painful this would be without this. And then 23 equals, the frequency is 8. And then 24, which has a frequency of 11. Okay. Oop. So once you've put all of that data in, we can press AC and it will disappear for a second, but the data is stored in the calculator. Now we can calculate the mean and the standard deviation. So the way that we do that is we go Shift and then 1, which is stat, and then if we go to var, we have a few options here. N gives us the number of scores, X hat or 2 gives us the mean, and then 3 will give us the standard deviation. So first of all, we're going to press 2, the mean equals, and that will give us our average. So the way that we can write this down on our screen is we just go mean or X bar equals 22.3. Let's go to 1 decimal place. There. So that's our mean. Now we can clear that. And to find the standard deviation, we just go Shift Stat 4, and this time we're going to press 3 and equals, and we have our standard deviation. So sigma equals 1.3. That's 1 decimal place as well. So that's how we do it. We set up with the frequency table, frequency option turned on, input the data, and then we can find the average and the standard deviation from that. Okay, for this next one here, we have something called using class centers. So sometimes data is put into pools of where there's a range, and so all of the data points in that range are just counted in that sort of pool. So we've got from 6 to 10, we had 2 data points that were in that range. From 11 to 15, we had 5 data points that were in that range. Now this data doesn't tell us exactly what those data points were, it just tells us what range they were in. And in some cases, this is good for simplifying the data in a way that's easier to read. Okay, but we're going to use this to find the mean and the standard deviation as well. First, we need to clear our memory. We go Shift, Control, clear the memory, and reset. So we have to turn back into stat mode by going mode stat, one variable. And then we need to go Shift, mode, down, stat, frequency on, and we have our frequency table. Now, for this one, what we're going to do, instead of putting the class in, we're just going to average it out. So this is an approximation because we're using class centers. So we're going to find the score that's in the middle of that range, and then that's going to be our data point that we use in our frequency table. So for 6 to 10, instead of doing 6 to 10, we're going to write 8 because that's the middle data point. That's the class center. And then we can put the frequency of that class in as such. Okay, so the middle one, 11 to 15, is going to be 13. So the class center is 13. And the frequency of that is 5. So this is a kind of a way of approximating by just taking the middle number of that range. Okay, the middle number of 16 to 20 is going to be 18. Oops, sorry, 18. Wrote the number that I was saying, not the number that I was thinking. 18, and that one is going to be 7. And then the next one here is going to be 23. So the middle number is 23, and the frequency is 6. The last point, middle one here is 28, and the frequency is 4. So once we've inputted our data, okay, press equals. Once you pressed equals, you've inputted the data for all of that. We can close that, and we can then find the mean and the standard deviation, just like we did before. Shift, stat, var, and then 2 for the mean. Okay, which equals 19.0. And then shift, stat, var, and then 3. We press 3 for the standard deviation, and we've got our answer here. So sigma, it's kind of like a 6, but we probably want to make our sigma a bit more like a sigma. The circle closes at the top rather than on to the side. So I can fix this sigma as well. It's going to look more like that. Okay, and that's going to be 5.9 to 1 decimal place. Okay, so that's how we use our calculator to find the mean and the standard deviation with frequency tables. Good luck with the questions today, and if you have help, reach out, and I'll see you in the next video.